What is up, Hive Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and boy, oh boy, did you guys really let me hear it when it came to the walking 10,000 steps a day video. It appears that many of you disliked that study that I referenced in that video, and I'm gonna go ahead and make this video to set the record straight on walking 10,000 steps a day. Let's go ahead and break that down. Stay tuned. Alright guys, quickly before we start, this video is brought to you by yours truly, Fledge Fitness and the Fledge Fitness Jump Rope. If you haven't gotten yours yet, what are you waiting for? With an ergonomic design, aluminum handle, and swivel design, you can't go wrong with the Fledge Fitness Jump Rope. You can click on the top right hand corner of this video or down in the description box below. And of course, as always guys, thank you for your support. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Alright, so I literally got hammered for my 10,000 steps a day video on walking. Alright, so I completely understand where you guys are coming from. I came off as very hyperbolic in that video, but if you actually watch the whole thing, yes, I was pulling in views in terms of my titling and how I was describing everything. But if you watch the video, I literally state that yes, it is something. You are moving from a sedentary lifestyle to a non-sedentary lifestyle by walking 10,000 steps a day. And that could attribute to doing other things that are non-sedentary, and those things can further assist you with walking 10,000 steps a day. But I need to fully break this down in respects to what 10,000 steps a day is, what's the benefits of it, because yes, there are benefits, but why I still think that it is not even close to being the most effective thing that you can do. The benefits of walking 10,000 steps a day come strictly from someone who doesn't do any type of physical activity at all, because it's low risk of injury. It's a more steady state cardio, so it's easier to do. It's a very low form of entry. No gear has to be purchased. Nothing has to be done for you to just walk 10,000 steps a day. You just walk 10,000 steps a day. Now, let me be very clear. If you're on the couch and you're just eating junk food, it is not the same as if you're walking 10,000 steps a day. Everyone in the comment section swore that that video was me saying that sitting on your couch and doing nothing is equivalent to 10,000 steps a day. The study that I was referencing was studies looking at the transitional period within college students that walk 10,000, 12,000, and even 15,000 steps a day, but actually still gain weight because of the elements within just walking that makes it an inefficient cardio system to trying to reach your goal, especially when you compare it to other cardio methods that you can use. So if you're older, if you don't do any exercise at all of these different things, yes, walking is beneficial because you can burn up to 500 calories, but it's all different based on your weight, based on your height, based off the terrain, if you're going uphill, if you're going downhill. All of those things can change the number of calories that you actually burn. But let's now dive deeper into walking 10,000 steps a day, and let's compare it to other cardio methods. Now, if you compare walking with running, walking is much more safer because walking has a negligible risk of 1 to 5%. You have a 1 to 5% risk of injury with walking, while running has an over 20 to 70% risk of injury because you're constantly crashing when you're running and your body's more akin to walking. So walking is low impact. Running is very high impact. So in terms of efficiency, maybe you say to yourself, yes, I will walk, even though running burns double the amount of calories for the same amount of time if you were walking, simply because you will be covering more distance with running than you would be with walking. So let's look at something else that's less impact than running. If you were to switch running with cycling, for example, then walking would not be as effective as cycling because it is lower impact and you'll be burning double the amount cycling than you are walking if you were to walk for the same amount of time. So we're looking at efficiency here. How effective are you? If you're walking for 1 hour versus riding your bike for 1 hour, you're going to burn a lot more calories riding your bike for 1 hour than you are walking. Same thing with running. Now I get it, you want to make sure that you're doing the things that are the safest. With cycling, there's a low negligible injury risk as well, but there's a possibility that you can get hit by a car or something like that because you're cycling on the street. You can still get hit by a car walking, but I get your point. However, with cycling, because of the large distances that you travel within that 1 hour, you are more likely going to find yourself going up more hills than you would if you were actually just walking. Now, what about swimming? Swimming also burns double the amount of calories that walking does in an hour. You can burn up to 600 calories in an hour, while for walking, it'll be about 300 calories. And this is all relative, but this is the average amount of calories that you will burn walking for 1 hour versus swimming for 1 hour. But I get it. If you want to say, well, you know, I don't have access to a large pool, or I can't go to a large pool, but I can always walk, there's the benefit there. But it isn't more effective. It is simply more accessible and more spontaneous because you could just walk at the drop of a hat. Rowing is another cardio that burns up to 840 calories per hour versus walking that burns 300 calories per hour. So do you see what's going on here? When you're walking, it's not effective enough. It's a good starting point. Get you active, get your heart rate up, and then get you into other things. It's a good starting point, but you are going to be moving that needle incredibly slow if all you're focusing on is walking and you're not advancing yourself from walking to another form of cardio. And let's talk about one cardio method that blows them all out of the water, and it's pretty low cost. Jumping rope burns 1,000 calories per hour versus walking that just burns 300 calories per hour. Do you see how drastically different the efficiency is with doing something like jumping rope versus doing something like walking? And jumping rope is low impact because when you're hopping, which you should be doing it with good form on your toes, not landing on your heels, your body has natural shock absorbers that you naturally utilize when you're jumping rope, as opposed to when you're running, you're literally just crashing. When you're jumping rope, you're essentially springing and bouncing. Keeping it low impact, very low risk of injury, very low cost. I mean, if you get my jump rope, it's only $16.50. That's incredibly low cost. And you can be very spontaneous with it, as you can just do it in your home, or you can do it outside, or you can do it wherever you want. And it's not this massive gear that takes up so much space. Even if you wanted to say, let's do a low impact, low cost thing that could compete with walking. Well, jumping rope, it literally activates your entire body. Legs, calves, upper body, arms, shoulders, everything. They've done many cardiovascular tests and studies on things like jumping rope versus running for 30 minutes. And 10 minutes of jumping rope has the cardiovascular equivalency of running 30 minutes. And running 30 minutes is already double what it would be walking 30 minutes. So you can see how far away walking is to the efficiency of jumping rope. If you want to lose weight, if that's your main goal, walking is a good step to get you out of being sedentary, but it should not be the final frontier. You should not be doing 10,000 steps a day as your method of cardio. That should be a good start, or at least connecting that with other methods of cardio. Like you're walking naturally 10,000 steps by purposely doing things like parking in a far location in the mall and then walking as far as you can to get into the mall and then walking as far as you can to get back to your car. Purposely doing those things to kind of get yourself to get as close to 10,000 steps as you can, but while still using other cardio methods as your main cardio method for weight loss. Now, a lot of you are probably saying, wait, but don't you burn more fat from walking because it's so steady state that you're just burning fat and you never switch to burning carbohydrates? Well, if you're in a fasted state, you've already depleted your carbohydrates anyways, and you're forcing your body to use body fat anyway. So you are already there. Second of all, it's still calorie based, guys. Even if you burn 300 calories and most of it was fat, running, you will burn 600 calories and most of it will be fat, as you will have burned through your carbohydrates very early on. And remember, it's still calories in versus calories out in terms of being the primary driver for weight loss. So you still lose more weight running than you do walking. Although I get it, it's not super safe. All of that injury is high. It's very injury prone, so walking might beat out running, but it doesn't beat out cycling, and it doesn't beat out swimming, and it doesn't beat out rowing, and it doesn't beat out jumping rope. And one more interesting fact, many studies have been done in terms of how cardio affects glucagon-like peptide 1 and peptide YY. These are hunger hormones. The cardio that does not reduce hunger is walking. Walking has been seen to be the least effective in reducing appetite and suppressing appetite, while all of the other ones that I've mentioned effectively suppress appetite. They did a study with cycling versus walking, and it showed that people who walked still ended up eating more as their appetite would increase after walking, which is what most likely happened to the college students in the previous video that I did on the study that I was talking about, why they gained weight even though they were walking 15,000 steps a day. The people that were just exclusively walking in this study gained weight because those hunger hormones were not suppressed, and in some instances actually increased, which made them a little bit hungrier. So it doesn't tackle appetite suppression as well as all of the other exercises. So I'm not attacking guys walking 10,000 steps a day. And I get it. There's always like a community system where it's like, no, we're the 10,000 steps a day community and we love 10,000 steps. And I completely understand that. And I'm not taking anything away from you in terms of it doing something versus doing nothing. Because yes, you're burning about 500 calories or so walking, and you're burning very little calories sitting on the couch. So if you went from sitting on the couch to walking, you will definitely be doing something. But the bang for your buck is so low when you look at all of the other methods of cardio that you can take as opposed to walking. Now, if you want to use walking as a springboard to get you from being sedentary to not being sedentary, and then getting comfortable with getting your heart rate up, and then now moving on to something that can really get your heart rate pumping to burn as much calories as you can, that's the best thing in my opinion that walking can do. Just get you moving so that you can finally get comfortable with moving on to something that's actually efficient for your time. Guys, do you want to be burning 300 calories for 1 hour, which is less than one donut? Or do you want to be burning 1,000 calories in 1 hour? I hope this cleared it up. I know I was being super hyperbolic in that video, but I did mention in the video that yes, there's a benefit to walking, is removing you from being sedentary. In terms of you wanting to lose weight, it is not the most effective thing that you can do. So I hope this video has helped you guys. And of course, as always, I want to thank my patrons for my Patreon. I'm going to go ahead and put their names right